Oh, I hit off. You have to hit a button up in the corner. Mine was off air, now it says I'm live.
Okay, now we are.
Mm, are we? I don't know. I don't have a button. I had to agree to a statement, and I said, okay. That's
Yeah, I
what I
did
said.
well,
Oh,
but it
there we
started
go.
off air.
We are live. It says so in my little corner here.
Okay.
Want to start
So,
with maybe class first?
The class dojo. I'm sorry, did I hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's start with class dojo.
I thought
So,
I thought it was definitely catered towards younger students. So, um, that was my biggest thing about it is that, just the graphics and such of it was for a younger crowd. My other issue with it is just the fact that students see like who's getting the bad points or good points. I think there was a way to turn that off so the notifications get turned off and you just hear the sound. And I think personally that's how I would use it, because when like students get the bad points, you don't want to like call them out in front of the class and have it like on the front of the board. So and so, did this, and I, I don't know. Some people that might be a good thing because it's more accountability. But personally, I wouldn't want to create that sort of issue with the student.
yeah, I agree. I think I believe there are ways to make it private in the settings. I don't have a classroom, so I can only play around with the sample account they had. It just seemed like a system whereby you give points to people. I would say one of the problems I noticed when I was going through the reviews is a lot of people had technical issues where it would crash midway through the semester, they'd do an update, and then it wouldn't work on their devices. So there's always that risk, I guess, when using these apps.
I agree.
yeah, I also would have to agree that it's definitely geared toward a younger crowd. So, I don't know if I probably wouldn't use it, to be honest. Um, but I did like the idea of like keeping the parents in the loop with like instant messages or whatever that like are automatic or whatnot. I thought that was nice. Yes.
I agree. I think it's just, and for the teachers, on the teachers' end, I think it's just the fact that you have that documentation and you can, show this happened this day, just sort of helps to cover yourself in case anything happens. And it's a good way of organizing that and doing it efficiently. The best use of I saw a video of a class, I think it was a middle school class, and they had like their daily morning routine. And if they did their daily morning routine, the students themselves came up to the board, like the smart board, selected their names, and then all at once the teacher like added that points to their sort of participation or whatever for the day. I think that's a better way of using it. But my biggest things, I just wouldn't want it to be on the smartboard all day. Like I want to use my smartboard for other purposes other than just having this behavior point system on my smartboard.
I actually have a
Yeah.
question about a class dojo. I don't know if any of you know it. So basically, you just get points, right? And then the points, the students are supposed to be happy getting points, but the points don't do anything. You just get them, and then you can show it to parents or something. But beyond that, nothing really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's another. I think. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think it's just like the teacher can use that point system to their own for their own uses. So like you could say like if you have however many positive points, you could personally reward something, but the system doesn't do any of that for you.
Okay, I see. That makes sense.
Sorry, I had to plug in my charger.
No problem.
So, if any of you would have seen something about the Class Dojo app,
Can you repeat that one more time, Jay?
If anyone of you were to change something about the Classroom Dojo app, what would you change?
What would
Or if you
what
want to add any features or anything like that, how would
oh,
you change it?
um maybe instead of the avatars, I know it's cute for little kids, but I think maybe there's like it's a picture, because that way you can leave that as like or like a sub or somebody if, and they could continue using it based off of like the students' pictures, and then I think it's also not as childish when you take out that element.
Do you have anything you change about it, Nicholas?
Yeah, give me. It's really in a pain. Yeah, I think just something in the way of rewards besides just points. I think like I was looking at some others and like Classcraft, and they use like you're actually like leveling up a character. I don't know, something more motivational. I feel like points are great for teachers to keep track, but for the students, I don't know if it's like a real effective way of keeping them like constantly motivated.
I agree.
I would actually be curious to use a system like Classroom Dojo, but I'm not sure I'd want to use the points part of it. Just as a way to give feedback to students might be nice. I guess the points are kind of instantaneous, easy feedback that they can get. Oh, like they get a point or something. But I feel like after a while, that might work for a year, but even then, I'd be surprised if it worked for a year before it became kind of shallow without any kind of other system implemented to it. Maybe shallow and in person with the points. I guess you can add notes to it. Like I just haven't really used the system, so it's hard to say if this is something that would really work for me or not.
Usually, I've seen it used in classes before, and a lot of the people that I've seen use it, what they do is they just use it off of like the teacher's computer, and they keep the sound. So like if the student hears like
Oh, I didn't realize it was
data
coming
point,
out of.
everybody's like,
Put us all in the headphone. I'm
like just got points down, or like if they hear the good points sound, then it's like, oh, okay, like somebody's getting points, teacher's adding points right now. I should probably do something good too, so that I get points as well. But yeah, I don't think it's a long-term solution. The only thing is like if the teacher themselves created some sort of system based off of the points. That's the only way I could think of as it being motivational past first couple months.
What about Classcraft? I could kind of shift there because I'm curious about that. You said they could actually level up the characters.
Yeah, it's really every student gets their own. It's like an RPG. You guys are probably familiar with RPGs, but it's sort of like World of Warcraft in a way. But so the teacher like awards experience points based on like past class performance, like at the beginning of the class, at least what I've seen, and then they choose to put those, where they see fit to level up their character. And I guess there are three types. There's like a warrior, a mage, and a healer. And they correlate with different roles in the classroom based on what the teacher thinks. I thought it was really cool, actually.
I thought it was really cool as well, and I think it's a lot more useful, especially in high school classes. I can see it being useful.
They actually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna ask, do they actually gain abilities as they level up?
I mean, I think part of it's sort of like if you think about like D&D, I think it's sort of up to the teacher in a way, like how exactly they're going to use those experience points and for what reason. but I think generally for motivation.
It'd actually almost be kind of fun to kind of have them level up and gain abilities, and at the end of the year, you could have like some kind of, you can put them in groups of 4 and then have them battle other groups of 4. That doesn't seem like it'd be productive to learning at all. It just seems like it'd be really fun.
Yeah, that really did seem really fun. I think the way I saw it used, though, with the guy who created it, I watched a video of like him using it in his classroom, and he had a lot of like preset things in there. Like, you know, if you didn't turn in your homework, you lost 10 points. If you were helpful to another student, you gained however many points. And he had like his like system was set up very systematically, and the student knew what it would take to sort of earn points. But my biggest thing about it was sort of the collaboration effort between the students in the group, because if, for example, somebody lost their points and basically is now in trouble because they've now lost all their XP, you could help out your group and like take a hit for them. I thought that was kind of cool. But you could, and I think what's nice about it is that you could choose whether or not you want to help your group mate, because I feel like if it was, you know, a group mate who consistently sort of not doing what they need to do, you don't have to take that hit. But if it, you know, if somebody can sort of right up one day, you could, you know, help them out with and support each other.
So would you say this app is something that you would utilize? I guess, of course, Class Dojo would be better for younger ages. I guess we're all teaching mostly middle school, high school. Would you incorporate this into your class?
Are we talking about Classcraft or?
Classcraft, yeah. Would you use Classcraft?
I would absolutely use it. I'm actually really thinking about it for the upcoming year.
I really like Classcraft, but my biggest thing is that I think it's utilized best when students have access to their own technology. And in most of the school districts I was in, many students don't have that access at home. So that would be my one reservation about using it, is that I don't think it would be used to its full potential if I attempted to integrate it in the classroom.
So you're saying they need all like smartphones or computers to use at home for it to be useful?
Not that it can't be used, but that the students wouldn't. I don't think they get as much personal satisfaction, I guess, out of using it with just the teacher awarding it in the classroom. I think it would be better utilized because there's a lot of, you can like add assignments to have students, you know, online at home and stuff like that too. But I think it's more fun for the students if they can go in, you know, change their own characters and things like that. And my students have that
I think my other reservation would be, like, I think it could pose a distraction if you don't, like, train yourself pretty well beforehand. I could see it, like, getting out of hand really easily, especially if you have, like, a one-on program where your kids each have their own device in class. I could see it getting pretty hard to control. But, you know, besides that,
I think just for the battle royale at the end, I would like to use it. Maybe I'd have to tie it into the class somehow, where I'd be like, all right, whatever group wins the battle royale gets to choose any book they want, provided it's not like some kind of rare edition that costs $100 or something, and I'll give them the book. But yeah, I guess I don't want to turn it too much to it an extrinsic reward system and keep it more intrinsic and feedback based. How is the feedback system within Classcraft? Does it measure up to Classroom Dojo? Can you help parents? Can you leave notes on why they get XP or don't get XP?
Yeah,
I think,
like I said, there was the one that I was watching the video. I was watching the guy basically. He had it all sort of presets, like students knew exactly how many points they would gain or lose for different things, and all you had to do is like click it and then click no homework or whatever, and it would automatically deduct it from that student, and it would leave a note as that's the reason it was sort of deducted.
It seems initially like it's a bit time consuming, but I guess once you get into the flow of how to use the program, does it become pretty simple? Like it just takes like a few seconds to get everything set up, or do you need to like prepare before class how to preset everything? Does it take like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or would it be like a half an hour kind of endeavor?
I think maybe it would depend on the class, but I think you can preset like functions for like by group, like by class group. So I don't think it's like something that you have to change like by individual student necessarily. I don't think it gets that time consuming.
I think it's pretty preset. Like I mean, like how you set up the groups, you can definitely set that up beforehand, which eliminates a lot of the time consumption for class time. That being said, with any of these apps, Classroom Dojo and all that, I think me personally, just spending the time to check each student in and say, point for this, minus points for this, would be time consuming in itself and distracting for me as a teacher. Like that, I don't want to spend my class time doing that. But maybe once like you get used to it and get the flow of it, it'd be easier.
Do you think it would be right to use Class Dojo or Classcraft to actually use subtraction of points, kind of make it into a punishment tool? Would that be effective, or would that be kind of counterproductive?
There is with Classcraft there was penalties for loss of HP points. So, for example, like if if the student lost points, they could be delivered a punishment instead of a reward. The punishment maybe they have to turn in their next assignment a day early, versus the reward on the other end, if you had done well, would have been you could have turned that assignment in a day later. But I don't know how I don't know if my students would actually follow through with it, and actually do what they were supposed to do. It even assigns detentions, and it was kind of funny. I was watching like the New York Tech meetup where Classcraft, the guys who created it, were introducing it, and he said that the system can assign detentions, and he's like his student was he kind of said I was sorry man that this happened, whatever, and yet the student's like, nah, mister, I know it's the game that assigned the detention and not you, because so basically he kind of was totally accepting of this detention because it was his fault for not doing what he needs to do in the game.
Is there any other points anyone would like to make about Classcraft, or any questions?
I think maybe we should move on to another one.
Too noisy, too loud. What was the name of it?
Yeah, Too Noisy. I looked at Too Noisy. I looked at the light version because I'm a real cheapskate. I didn't want to pay any money to try out the other version. It's actually really simple. I had it on my tablet. My tablet's really old. I refused to get a new one, but it still worked on my tablet really well. You just make noise, and there's a little meter on the screen that will move up as it gets noisier, and there's kind of a face on the screen as well, so when it's quiet, it's happy, and then when it's noisy, it covers its ears. In the Pro version, there's more settings, like it will make noise if it goes up too high, and other features like that. But basically, it's at its core, it's just a noise meter. So it seems like it has kind of limited use in a classroom, especially the light version, because if students are making noise, they're not likely paying attention to like a noise meter, it seems.
I agree with that. That was my biggest thing about it. Is that you can have that on the board all you want, but how much are the students going to actually recognize that and adjust their behavior accordingly? I thought it was also geared towards younger students, just because of the smiley face graphic. I thought it was definitely, on the younger end. But my biggest thing about the light version is when I tried it out, because I as well would not pay for the pro version, so I just tried out the light version. Was that the ads that come with it are, you know, kind of distracting. Like I had a Candy Crush ad open on my thing, and like I was like, if I put this up, you know, if I had this up on the board and this is what shows up, then this is like killing my class time with advertisements, and God forbid the students start talking about Candy Crush instead of doing, you know, what they needed to do. You know, it's an aspect of pretty much any free app, but it was just that when I opened that one up, that's what happened to me. Is that first thing I had this nice little ad, and I was like, all right.
It might be useful as kind of a group contingency where I could say, if I ever see this meter reach this point during class, and it's outside of a moment where I would allow that, then I'm going to give an extra assignment to the class. That way they just know that they control themselves outside of moments where there's a class discussion or something to avoid having to get extra. But other than that, I don't know if it's really useful.
Yeah, I think ultimately the behavior management part is on the teacher. It's just really a tool to indicate that, but if you want behavior management aspect to actually work, the teacher needs to set up. And I would agree with you that that would be the logical punishments or whatnot. Have you ever heard of like that mosquito noise thing?
I think I might have heard it for a bit. I try and keep my microphone muted, so some voice appears all the time.
Like this noise, this sound that apparently people can hear, but older people cannot. And I had one of my workers, I don't know how ethical this is, but students were getting loud and he would play this sound. He had it like on his phone. And hear it, and I'll be like, you know, what is this? What's the sound? But he couldn't hear it, and you know, other teachers can't hear it, so it doesn't bother him. It's like a slip that scares me up here. I kind of wish there was something like that built into down here, some sort of indicator to the students that, okay, you know, this is getting out of control a bit, in a way to
It might have been just me, but I had some trouble hearing what you just said.
Yeah, me too. Knows.
I
Still
can
kind of distant.
It might be better when you stand still, I'm not sure.
never mind, it's not important. I need to go to work soon, so we can just
Well, does anyone have any more points about two voices? I guess it's kind of a simple app in concept. The light version, I guess if a teacher really wants to use it, they shouldn't really go with the light version. They might as well get some money for the pro version. I can't remember how much the pro version costs though. What was the app that you were going to look at, Joe?
It only really has three features. It I liked it because it had a random you know, you just have like popsicle sticks or random that students feel that they're being fairly treated. It's, it's great. You can just take your class, click the button, and they can, and you can go to
So it's basically a classroom management tool.
Yeah, I think I liked it just because it sort of promoted fairness and class participation in a way that students feel like you're favoring other students or feel like you're picking out a student in really random ways.
A lot of the concepts or a lot of the things that it can do I actually like. Like it seems useful. I always wanted to I used to code a little bit in C++, but I've forgotten how to do most of it. But I've always wanted to make like those generators, like a generator that would randomly bring up a student name so I could call them for a question. I usually end up just using a hat and I pull names out of the hat, and that way I can if I keep the name out of the hat, I can just make sure I call each student for something once a day. But I guess if you really had control of the features of something, you can kind of set up the generators to kind of really randomize things in the way that you want them to. So, okay, once the student's called and out of the different range.
I'm not sure if it eliminates students being because I don't know if it like resets. I don't think there's a way to like reset everything. Just progress
the group maker also seems useful. I'm kind of torn. Like it seems like just randomizing groups would be really nice, but at the same time, it seems like a lot of teachers will make the groups themselves in a very clever way. Like they'll really like these two people separate each other together because it helps them on tasks. So I guess it depends on the activity and the class, but some of this stuff could really save some time.
I think that was the next expectation that it could save time if you didn't have the time to be setting it up in a way that setting up your group so that this person is paired with this person and doing it automatically like that. It's just very time consuming. Idea last night, and I want to do this today, but I don't know if I can
I think I would at least give Insta Classroom a try.
any other feedback?
Sorry, what was that?
Do we have any other comments or feedback on that last time?
I'm just looking through the list. Did you guys look at SmartSeed?
Sorry, what was that?
I was asking if you guys looked at SmartSeed.
Oh, if we have a smart screen?
No, SmartSeed, the application that's on the list.
Yeah, I didn't look at the Smart Seat. I just looked at Too Noisy, Class Dojo. There are a few others I was looking at early on, just kind of briefly, but I didn't really get a whole lot of notes on them.
I think I took a quick glance at SmartSeed, but I don't remember a few minutes and I was just
For these applications, I feel like the amount of work put in setting it up would like waste the time you would have wasted anyway, like doing the old-fashioned way. I don't know, maybe I'm just old-fashioned.
Yeah, I feel like I want to just be able to have that tactile feeling where I have like that notebook in front of me. I can just turn the page and write quickly down what I need to write. But I guess the digital tools kind of, I don't know, it might save time if I would just keep using them.
I think we're probably closing in on time here.
Okay, is there anything that anyone would want to add before we close the session?
I pretty much, like I said before, I think the most useful one for me was classcraft, and I think it has the most value in a middle or high school setting.
I want to use Classcraft, but to be fair, I'm kind of I'm not on the level of that. I'm a huge Dungeons and Dragons nerd. Love role-playing games, White Wolf, and all that stuff. So it's naturally I'm going to be attracted to that. I know there was actually a teacher teaching English as a second language at some university, and my friend's girlfriend was a Persian in that class, and she hated that he used Dungeons and Dragons in the class to teach English. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, I couldn't stand it. So it's that kind of worries me. Like, some of this stuff seems so incredibly interesting and exciting, but there just might be some students who it's just torturous for.
That's true. I hadn't thought about it that way. Alright, we should let you know go to work.
Differentiation kind of problem.
Okay, so, yeah, I gotta go to work now. So,
all right. Thanks for stopping by to chat.
Yep, good chat, guys.
All right.
See ya. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.